The first thing that came to my mind after using AI coding assistance for the first time months ago was cognitive load. Because not long before after I finished reading a book titled A Philosophy of Software Design by John Osternold. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that name right, where he took time to discuss cognitive load and how naming variables and how giving a bit more extra information at the risk of over encoding can be helpful, and writing comments and whatnot. And then suddenly I used AI tools. I started using it, I was even before reading the book, but it was just kind of a happy coincidence, you could say that. And when AI generates code, what happens is if you truly want to make use of that code base in production where hundreds of thousands or even millions of people are going to be using in a software in a production environment where you have many users, then your software engineers have to understand the code that's being generated. And then what happens is that instead of technical debt, what happens is you have now more cognitive load because your engineers have to understand the generated code. And there are a lot of moving parts in every software, which means you have to actually spend time. Now, there's an argument, or rather, one could argue that there is spec-driven development that's proposed and it has become popular and wide among prompt engineering, software engineers, prompt engineering. And yes, I agree, it helps. But if you look at it, the amount of time takes you to actually write clean and precise specifications could have been used to actually develop the code itself and develop the system on your own. And this seems like a regression to me. Because if you look at the history of software design, not just coding itself, there was the waterfall approach. And the waterfall approach was engineering teams would spend time, hours, days, weeks, with the aim of designing every single part of the system before they start developing it. And it seems to me the spec-driven development approach is trying to revive the same thing. Because the reality is you know what you want in the end, but you usually have no idea what's in between. And so you build as you go. You make decisions as you go. Because you don't want to overplan just as much as you don't want to over-engineer. And you don't want to under-engineer as well. So for me, and this is my opinion, I'm trying to be unbiased, is that AI is useful. It speeds up the process of development, but it's really important to learn how to use it efficiently and effectively without throwing the keys, like without handing over the keys to AI. But also, the way AI leading companies are pushing this to people are just force feeding engineers and tech companies. Is that it's like they are hoping many developers will lose their development skill and solely rely on the AI tools so that they will have more users, which means more revenue. But this really sounds like a conspiracy theory because I have no evidence for that. But honestly, that's the direction the world is taking. And it's not a good one for software developers. What I just want to say is for you and I, as software developers, we shouldn't give into this. Because no matter what, whether the world continues using AI heavily or not, you have to be good at what you do. You are better when you know what you're doing. You are better than the person that doesn't know what's happening behind the scenes. So you're not losing anything when you actually learn how to develop software and to know and understand what's happening behind the scenes. you're much better, even if you use AI tools. And so do not be deceived by the fact that you can just type in commands and you can just prompt a model to generate things that it also doesn't really understand if you really know how AI works, generative AI works.